And coming up on this episode of the Marty Mariner Show, yes, we are back for season 2023/24. An episode just for our ladies. Yes, we have a Central Coast Mariners team competing the Liberty A-League competition. About time, even if I do say so myself. Kicking off the season tomorrow night. We will talk about that very, very shortly. I'll also talk to you about a couple of players I think you need to keep an eye on if you haven't seen this team in action in any of the trials or any games previously that they've played at different clubs. I'll give you a couple of names you definitely have to keep your eye open for. Got a very special shout out to make. Got a couple of predictions for our game tomorrow night and also for the season. And then a very special interview with a very special lady who we couldn't have an episode go to where the first of the season, all about our ladies, if this one wasn't very much a part of it. All coming up very, very shortly, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Let's get this show started. It's the Marty Mariner Show. Yes, welcome to the Marty Mariner Show, our first episode for the year, titled Ladies First. Yes, tomorrow night at Industry Group Stadium, 5 o'clock kickoff underneath the palm trees, underneath the sauce bottles. The Central Coast Mariners will be playing the Newcastle Jets to kick off the Liberty A-League competition. How good is that? It's just been a long time coming, and we'll be talking to a couple of the people over the coming episodes of the journey that's been travelled. One in particular, who you'll see a little bit later on in the show, who was very much an integral part of getting this all happening, amongst a group of a lot of other people, of course. But to see that team walk out tomorrow night, I absolutely cannot wait. I really hope Central Coast we get there to support it. If you haven't got a ticket yet, make sure you go out and get one. It's definitely not too late. And check your memberships. It'll get you into to the women's games as well. But make sure you check that on all of the club socials through their Facebook page and the website. Make sure you check it out. We need to see you there at Central Coast. In talking to, I've had the good fortune to talk to a number of the girls over the last few weeks, months, and I can just tell you how excited they are to be a part of this club. To be part of the fabric that has been born of the Central Coast Mariners supporters getting behind their teams. What a better way to kick off a season than an F3 derby. Brand new shiny trophy to play for as well. A part of the guardrail. How good is that? I thought you couldn't get any better than a concrete core sample out of the F3 itself. A guardrail. How shiny does it look? Can't wait to see Taryn King holding that above her head at the end of the game tomorrow night. Really looking forward to it. So if you haven't got a ticket yet, make sure you get out there and get one. Let's show the girls our support. Let's do it from day one. And if any indication is the amount of people who've been talking about it, I think we are going to go to a long way in filling the majority of the stadium. Looking forward to it. Family-friendly time at 5 o'clock as well. How good is that? And, of course, there'll be some players out there that I think you should really, really be keeping a close eye on. So let's have a look at a few of our players. The first player that I think you should definitely keep an eye on, Roller Badawea, the striker, American-born, played through the American college system, came out to Australia via AS Roma through the Serie B. Some nice pedigree playing through there. Obviously was at Sydney Uni where she linked up with our head coach, Emily Husband. Has played 7 times for Sydney FC. We will forgive her for that, I am sure. Roller is absolute class. I don't think in both the men's and the women's team there is a cleaner hitter of the ball than Roller. Positional play is really good, can take on a defender. Real excitement machine in that front line. You'll see it a little bit later. I'm tipping it to bag one tomorrow night against the Jets. Can't wait to see that. Doesn't score tap in, she'll hit some from a fair distance out, and I can't wait to see them hit the back of the net as well. Definitely a player to watch for the season. Roll about a weir. Next up, we're going from the front line to the back line, and it's our skipper, Taryn King. And yes, my good friends, Sharon and Wayne, it is Taryn with an E, but it's captain with a C. She'll be leading from the back. Distribution, positional play, spot on. Was really impressed by the passing out from the back last weekend in the trial against Wellington Phoenix. Great communicator, perfect choice as captain. Will certainly lead the girls both on and off the field. Just such a great example of how to play the game, but also play that part off the field as well. I think it's as I said, an absolutely fantastic choice as captain of the club, and to see her out there leading the troops as well will be fantastic. But definitely someone to be keeping an eye on as well in our backline, Taryn King. And one more player just to keep an eye on. Well, we've got to keep it local. How good are the Central Coast Mariners as a club in bringing people through the academy? Well, let's look at the local lass, Annalise Rasmussen, who is going to be playing up front for us this year. Again, saw in the game against Wellington and a few times before, has pace, can beat a player, has a really nice shot on her as well. Positionally, is very well suited, I think, to the system that we'll be playing. Just definitely one to keep an eye on, I think, as the season goes on and the confidence grows. I think we'll see some absolutely stunning games from Annalise. She's certainly the type of player that can get a crowd to their feet in a real hurry. Again, off the field, an absolute legend. Loves a good chat, and I'm sure you'll get to catch up with her during the season as well. I'm sure we'll try and get her on the show as well. But keep an eye on her on the field. Keep an eye on her tomorrow night. I think it should be one to watch. Annalise Rasmussen. And while we're doing the whole shout out thing, a massive shout out to someone who, well, look, if it wasn't for them, I'm not just saying it, there wouldn't be a Central Coast Mariners women's team walking out onto the Industry Group Stadium tomorrow night. This person was absolutely integral to the success of this team doing what they get to do tomorrow night. You will also hear her dulcet tones across the stadium. Carly Carmichael, who is no stranger to us here at the Marty Mariner show, will be the MC and ground announcer for the games. You probably would have heard her in action if you were at the Wellington game last weekend. I am so happy and to see her play a part, albeit off field, but be a part of this momentous occasion, seeing our team walk back out on the field. It's just going to be fantastic, and I'm really, really happy that Carly has the opportunity to play her part. Did a great job last weekend as well, and you'll hear her for the whole of the season. So when you're hearing Carly do her thing, make sure you give her heaps of support as well. She's an absolute legend and very much deserves a shout out. And of all the people I'm really, really happy for this weekend, she'll definitely be one. And speaking of shout outs as well, and speaking of legends and people who are very much integral to this A-League women's team getting on the park tomorrow night, Gabby Bowles joined me for a bit of a chat earlier this week. She has some news that she's going to share with everyone who hasn't heard it just yet, but we had a good bit of a chat, bit of a chinwag, bit of a conversation. And yeah, here's the interview now. It's Gabby Bowles. And welcome back to the Marty Mariner show. And well, my next guest certainly doesn't need any introduction, so she's not going to get one, because if you don't know who this young lady is, well, you've been under a few rocks here on the Central Coast. Gabby Bowles, how the hell are you, mate?
Yeah, hey, Marty, really, really good and awesome to be back on the show.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. Now, before we deep dive into the world of what's going, it's been a busy transfer market for football over the off season, but I hear there's been a bit of a movement for in the off season, off the field as well.
Yes, a very big change. But yeah, I recently have parted ways, officially working with the Mariners. You'll never take the fan out of me. And yeah, got a lot of belief in this club. But yeah, I've got an opportunity to explore a bit of a career change, and am heading into a new role as of next week with Star 104.5, which is exciting.
Absolutely, and we'll cover off on that a little bit later. But I think you're definitely right, mate. You can take the manner out the girl, but you can't take the girl out of base 16. I think that's how it goes, something like that. So, looking forward to seeing you at the ground, and for all the work that you've done over the years, goes without saying. But we know that you are not lost to us. That you'll always be a Mariner and be sticking around. But yes, we'll be touching on that future a little bit later on. But before we talk about the future, what about the past? For those that don't know, what was your earliest footballing memory?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I was introduced to the game when I was 12, so it was my first year of high school. I mean, I played a little bit in primary school in the playground, but the first opportunity to play for a local club came when I was in year 7. My parents had a staff member whose daughter played, and he was heavily involved with East Gosford Football Club, and they needed a few more players. And he said, "Oh, why doesn't she come and check it out?" And at school, I enjoyed that you got to kick the boys, and I thought, yeah, all right, let's have a go at this. And look, it was around the same time that the movie Bend It Like Beckham came out. My dad, who was an avid rugby league fan, actually took me and a friend down to watch the Olyroos play in Parramatta, and that was my first exposure to sort of, top tier football in this country. And Harry Kewell was an up-and-coming young player as a teenage girl. That was over the next couple of years. So, it was really just through family connections that I got a taste for it, and first started with the Rams.
Absolutely, and certainly kicked a few balls around the field in anger, I'm sure, and stuff like that. And actually played.
No, who's been telling you that? It's not true. I'm a delight.
We always do our research here on the Marty Mariner show. My sources are they're hidden, but I know they're definitely right, because I know you actually played a decent level. You played sort of in the the Central Coast, the women's side, backing up in the second side there and forcing your way through, which was actually a bit of a golden time for the Central Coast women's. We had some really class players coming through.
Yeah, look, I was lucky enough the first year I played. So as a 12-year-old turning 13 that season, I got asked to sit on the bench for, I think it was Premier League at the time. And there were some massive names in Central Coast football that were playing in that team. Ange Boringer, Sue Moffat, Gabby Jones. And that sort of opened my eyes to the fact that, hang on, there's women playing this. It wasn't just a kids game. And then, I spent a season with Coasties, and got to do a couple of away trips with the Coasties there. And then on and off over the years, I sort of bounced between Div 1 and Premier League. As I get a little bit older, there was a bit more in Resies. And then, over the last sort of 2 seasons, it's time to acknowledge what your 41-year-old body is capable of. And I've gone back to all age 4.
Yeah, and we've all been there, done that, and got that one in the locker room too. So, and look, and I know you're passionate, obviously, through playing the game and growing up with it, but it leads us nicely into the Her Crew Collective, which I had the honour of being invited to the launch in Gosford not that long ago. Rather than me even attempt to describe what it all means, because you just did such an eloquent job on the night, tell us, what is the Her Crew Collective?
Yeah, so look, that was, I guess that was my last legacy to Mariners as such. Sean tasked me with setting up a philanthropic program. A lot of the other professional clubs have it for different causes, and this was the first one we wanted to focus on, acknowledging that across the board, the women's game is grossly underfunded. And while Mariners have, gone a long way to bridge some of those gaps, they've committed to play all the games out of a proper stadium. Most other clubs play their Liberty A-League women out of an NPL ground, which impacts the experience for spectators and can affect crowd numbers. The quality of the pitch isn't always quite the same, albeit, good for local comps and NPL. It's not the same tier that you would expect at a professional level. Mariners have also employed Emily Husband as a full-time coach. And most of the other clubs, I'm yet to hear of one that has a full-time coach. Their coaches are all engaged in a part-time capacity. We still knew that we needed to attract funding into the women's space to make sure that we can elevate the game to where it should be. So her crew collective was what we came up with. Crew just seemed appropriate given that we're mariners. And the idea is that people who have the capacity, whether it's a small one-off donation or a regular monthly donation, which thank you, you have signed up to back that for us.
Absolutely.
Or if people who are able to put in larger sums of money can actually join the coterie group. It's a way to channel funding directly into that women's program and start to close those gaps.
Okay. And the being there on the night, the buzz around and the excitement that was around it too. What was it on the night that got you? Because there were so many different people from so many different areas of the game. What was it for you on the night that really got that heart beating a little bit more?
Look, I mean, we had a capacity of 120, and I think on the day having people ring up saying, "Oh, can I get a few last minute tickets?" or "Something's changed and I can make it now," and having to say no, like on the one hand, it felt awful, but on the other hand, I was so ecstatic. So many of the people that I know, a lot of them, from my personal network, a lot of them from the club's network, aren't traditionally football people. They're we targeted primarily successful business women and women that have done great things in their own right, as well as supporters of women, and just to have so many of them there keen to find out more, and the help that's come off the back of that, the experiences and the offers that the girls have had, and then the additional members that have come into our coterie group that are making a genuine difference. While it's hitting our Liberty A-League women's team now, what that does is creates a sustainable pathway for the 12-year-olds, the 9-year-olds, the 16-year-olds, girls coming through on the coast that when I was growing up, I was lucky to play with some really talented players. They had to leave the Central Coast for these opportunities. And so the only way we can make sure those opportunities are still here for them is to adequately fund it and make sure that we get it off the ground and give it a real injection, until the commercial dollars follow.
Yeah. So with the ultimate goal, is there a goal that you could see from yourself? If you could say that, the Her Crew Collective could get to here, is that what would that be for you?
Look, initially a target was set for 60,000 in the first year. In financial terms, I bumped that to 100 because I believe in it, and I think that I think we can get there. So I know Sean's working at the moment on who will take over the running of that program now that I'm moving on, but I'll still be heavily involved with it. And, I have no doubt whoever picks it up will be just as passionate and potentially open it up to a whole new network. So the ultimate goal is that we don't get to the end of season 1 or season 2 or season 3 and someone saying, this just isn't viable anymore. We can't stack this up. I want us to build it collectively to a point where it's just fueling more opportunities, for women in the professional space, but then also those coming through the ranks in the development pathway.
Yeah, and I've got to say too, there are a number of players that were there on the night, and talk about professional. I mean, it felt about 150 degrees in there at some stage, and they're so professional in their tracksuits and just showing the colours, so proud of what they were wearing. But for them to go around and just introduce themselves and to have conversations, and they were just so, behind what was going on, they had an understanding of what was going on. That must light another fire for us as well, knowing that these young players and people who have come to the club, never been here before, can see the passion, see the support, and just jump straight in behind it.
Yeah, like all of the girls, in my experience to date, they're grateful. They take absolutely nothing for granted. And I think having watched the recent Matildas special, with the way that those players carry themselves, our girls remind me a lot of that.
Yeah.
They've bought into it. They've bought into the club. They, like you said, they can see how passionate people are, and they're just so grateful to be part of that. So they don't shy away. They go and introduce themselves. They're, up for a chat. And anytime you ask them to do anything, like they couldn't say yes fast enough. And to put that in perspective, most of them are studying. So they will leave
Yeah.
training in the morning to rush to uni, or they
Yeah.
have another job,
Yeah.
because this game isn't, across the board, isn't yet funded in such a way that these players, are getting a full-time wage.
Yeah.
And ultimately that's where we want to grow it. They've got to split their energy across so many things. So the fact that they have so much to give and they are so generous with their time and their energy, I just think is an absolute credit to them.
Oh, absolutely. And for anyone who's watching this and wants to know more about it, obviously you can contact the club and get behind it, because having the pleasure, the honor to actually get to talk to the players and Emily and those people behind it, and Grace, we should definitely throw her in there as well. They're just absolute legends. They are just working so hard themselves. They need every drop of support that they can get. Probably a segue too, Gabs, that having a Mariners women's team, what does that mean to you?
Don't ask me questions that will make my face leak. I do.
Wasn't deliberate.
I genuinely get quite emotional about it, because this was such a long slog to get this back. I mean, Mariners had a team previously in the competition, but it was run by Football New South Wales. So it was Mariners in badge, but the operations didn't sit within the club. This now is ours. And we've got an opportunity to really create something meaningful here. And the support that we've had, the support from Central Coast Sports College, has been incredible. The incredible sponsors that have got on board with it, Steadfast, Budget, like North Construction, and then, obviously DMC getting on the front of the jersey. It's, it's really heartwarming. It's heartwarming that people feel that, this is valuable and we don't want to take it for granted.
Absolutely. And I mean, and honestly, we mentioned just before about talking to the players. Is there anyone in particular who you've got your eye on this year who's just stood out and you thought, we all have, players in teams that we really love to follow a little bit closer. Who's got that heart of yours beating a little bit more? Can't wait to see them out there this year.
That's really hard. And I know you have asked me this before. First and foremost, it has to be Annabelle Martin, because there's a ginger bias going on and I don't shy away from it. We're special creatures. And I just, Annabelle is brilliant. But I mean,
and a great surname too, let's face it. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And look, in their trial game against Wellington on the weekend, like, I was really taken by Peter Trimmis. I thought, a scholar who came through, did the full 90 minutes. She was impressive.
Absolutely.
Really impressive. And I'm going to throw another one in there. Like, they're all amazing, but Roller, I think she's just an absolute character. She brings that energy onto the pitch. Absolutely. I joked with her after the match on the weekend. I said, that's it. I'm calling you Steamroller, because she absolutely plowed through one of the Wellington girls early in the game. I just thought that was brilliant.
I love that. I think that should definitely be put on their profile there somewhere. I suppose this week makes it then the Roller Derby. Oh, there we go.
Love it.
Jeez, how good are we? Should have us in commentary.
Give us a marketing job.
Should do. And look, and I think the Coast will get down to the games and get to watch this team play. You'll get to know the players so well, not just on the field, but off the field. I mean, the way they hung around after the game, I know it was family day. The temperature was dropping a degree every minute after the game, and they were still out there. They signed every autograph, every photo, all over social media. People have been putting up their photos, signing posters and stuff like that. The girls are absolutely incredible. So, it's a credit to everybody, the girls included. And I guess, I mean, for me, obviously from the coaching side of it, Emily Husband, you've had a little bit to do with her and a few conversations as well. What is it we need to know about Emily Husband, our head coach of the women's team?
That's hard to put into words. Emily is a special human. And I remember when Sean was first telling me about her, and he said, Gab, she's us. Yep. She's the perfect fit. And you meet her and it couldn't be more true. She's so down to earth. She knows her stuff, and she's methodical and technically minded, yet at the same time, she's the type of person, you can sit around and have a laugh and a joke with, and she's just so warm and welcoming. And I think to have a leader like that in charge of our team is, there's a lot of people come and go in football circles. Finding someone who has the right culture and, for want of a better word, vibe about them. M's just the whole package, right? And so I'm so excited. I would have, as a player, would have loved to, have found myself being coached by her. I think she's the type of person you can learn a lot from because of the way that she delivers it and the way she executes, her messages and that as a coach. So
absolutely, and I've seen and heard and spoke to a few of the players. They've had a few sort of team bonding sessions out together, and there's been some great stuff done there. And I think that's really important from Em's point of view too, to get it's a brand new squad, brand new players coming in from all over the world, literally, to come into this club playing under palm trees and sauce bottles, is to get them all together. And you can just tell from the players, and I noticed it again on the weekend, the way that they were all interacting with each other. There was no little groups. It was everyone helping each other out. You can almost feel that team is gelling just so well, albeit off the field, because they've probably, put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, well, it's that family vibe, right? Like the thing that the club's become known for. The thing that Monty did so successfully last season is really solidify them as a unit, and everyone's got everybody else's back. There's no individual superheroes there that are only worried about their own glory. Everyone is in this for each other, for the collective. And yeah, the girls had a pretty awesome week last week off the back of the Her Crew launch.
Yeah.
Cara and Kyle have this amazing beach house out at Toowoomba Bay and offered it to the girls for 2 nights so they could have a bit of team bonding coming into the season. And the girls were just so grateful. They had the best time. They then had one of the famous DMC lunches at Baker Street on Thursdays. So just really setting the tone and getting their heads around that sense of unity in the job they're about to be tasked to do together.
Absolutely. And well, speaking of DMC, Michael Dovey is an absolute legend for those that don't know the guy. Not only we'll talk about his support for the Mariners, but local sport as well. I know he's involved with Woongarra FC and a number of different places and sports. Just an absolute legend when it comes to physical support, not just I'm here, but he physically is there. I always thought an ambassador was someone who drove around and got driven around in Rolls Royces and had a red carpet rolled out. And I've heard that you are now going to become one. What is all this about?
Yeah, so when I told him that I'd accepted a job somewhere else, but I was still very much, a Mariners fan at heart, and that wouldn't change. He said, "Look, I'm in WA for long periods of time, and I need someone to represent DMC." And he's like, "Bringing you on as an ambassador." He didn't even really ask me. He just sort of told me it was happening. Michael and I have become good mates over the last few years, and anyone that knows him knows he doesn't take no very well. So
at all.
yeah. So when he can't make games because he's interstate and things like that, he's asked me to step in and fill his shoes representing the company.
Absolutely, and that's awesome for yourself, but especially awesome for DMC because they've got an absolute first-class operator there. And to give everyone an idea of what Michael's like, even after the game on the weekend, I know there was talk about getting a boombox for the girls to play their pump-up music and all this, and put it to him, and he's like, "Yep," and he's on his phone looking up JB Hi-Fi. Where's it?
You know what? He was actually here at my house today. He's already dropped it off. So by the time the show goes to air, the girls will have it. I'm taking it up to training tomorrow morning.
How good. But
not only did he get them a boombox for training, he's also got them a portable one so that they can take it on away trips.
Oh, look, and I want to know too who's going to be charged with that, because normally it's a player who gets given the boombox. And I'm not 100% sure who'll be chosen, but I think we'll know by the playlist who that'll end up being. But
well, to be fair, it was Kaya who was saying we need music. We need a music solution. I'm like, all right, leave it with me. Let's see what we can do. And Michael was the first one to put his hand up.
Absolute legend of a bloke. I mean, that just speaks volumes for the guy and just tells you exactly what he's like. It's you need it, you got it, supportive, and he's. And this is not his first rodeo when it comes to supporting the Mariners. He's done it for many years. So Definitely want to give out a big shout out to the legend Michael, and we'll definitely get him on the show, whether he likes it or not, in the very near future as well, because I'm sure
Nah, don't bother. He's rubbish at public speaking, and I'd be the first to tell him.
I know. We're just going to get him on and just throw him on and put a microphone in his face. He'll love it. I'm sure he won't hold it against me. And speaking of new roles too, now we said in the off season there were some big signings. Star 104.5.
Yes.
Now there's plenty of billboards around the Central Coast. Will there be brand new billboards? Is this a MartyMariner show exclusive? The Rabbit and Gina and Gabs for breakfast show. Is that where this is going?
I like Rabbit and Gina too much to put me on them. No, everybody's safe. No one is letting me near a microphone. No, I'll be taking up a role in their sales team. So it's getting back to the stuff that I love doing, working with small businesses and helping them, reach an audience and connect with more customers and grow their business. So I've known Paul Maltzan out there for quite some years, and I think I surprised him when I reached out when I saw them looking for someone. But I'm really excited to work with the guys there and learn something different, learn something in a different sector. And who knows where it will lead. But for now, you're all safe. No one's going to put me on air on purpose. You're one of the few who is crazy enough to give me a platform.
I'm sending a copy of this to Rabbit straight after we do it, man. You'll be on there from breakfast next Monday. Don't worry. But I hope you like the early starts in the morning.
No, I can't do early mornings. It's hard enough getting up to go to the gym. They can have that.
I could never do that. Absolutely never do that. Gabs, it's as usual has been an absolute pleasure having a chat with you again. You will not be lost to this channel. We will definitely get you on many, many times during the season with the progression of our women's team out there doing their thing. Anyone who wants to see Gab and buy her a drink for the outstanding work she's done for the Mariners, she'll be somewhere between Bay 16, Bay 18, or somewhere hanging around the DMC box, I would imagine.
Quite possibly. You know what? If I can learn how to shoot a decent selfie video, I'll have to get you some from the middle of the bay at the girls' games. So have some fun with that.
Absolutely. Now I'll be down there somewhere myself, and I can't wait to see it all. So, Gabs, thanks very much. On behalf of everyone for the Mariners, especially from us fans who know how much you have done for this club and will continue to do from the outskirts, thank you, and all the best in your future roles. But as I said, don't think for 1 second you won't be having a microphone shoved in your face on this show.
Thanks, Marty. Always a pleasure, mate.
Take it easy. And a massive thank you to Gabby for catching up with me for a bit of a chat. Will not be lost on the club. It has just been one of the hardest workers. We've had some fantastic people through the club. It's been the reason the Mariners have been the outstanding community club that they have been and will continue to be. And it's through work of people like Gabby and Carly, who I mentioned before the interview, is the reason that we're up where we are and doing the jobs that we are doing. So thanks, Gabs, for the interview. I'm sure we will see you around. Prediction time. Well, I can't do anything but predict a win for us tomorrow night. I mean, I think it'll be a 2-0 win to the Mariners. Roller will definitely score. I'm not sure she'll get both, but I can tell you now, and get your house, mortgage it, put the money, put it in your sports bet account, gamble responsibly, folks, but put it on Roller scoring a goal and a 2-0 win. And I don't think you'll go too far wrong. How good would it be to get 3 points, lift up the guardrail trophy? How good is that? And as for the season, look, I've heard a lot of commentators who don't have us in the top 6, who think it's good that we'll be out there competing. I'm putting us in that top 6. I think we will be challenging. I don't think anyone will want to come and play us. And I just think the combination of players that Emily Husband has in this squad, we have young, hungry players who are ready for an opportunity. We have experience, some with international experience, and players who just get that job done. I think we've got a fantastic mix in the team. And when you're talking to a coach about their squad, as I have done with Emily, and you see that smile on their face and they're nodding their head, you just know that they're happy with how things have gone and how things are going. So, look, I'm putting us in the top 6. You never know. It's our first season. It'll help if we get that 12th man in the stands. So make sure you get there, Central Coast. 5 o'clock, Industry Group Stadium in Gosford, under the palm trees, under the sauce bottles. Don't be late. Get your tickets. If you haven't got them, it is not too late. If you've got your membership, make sure you use it. Get down to the ground. Support our girls. If you enjoyed the World Cup and you saw all those packed out stadiums and the atmosphere that brought with it, if you've ever been passionate about the game of football, if you've got wives, mums, daughters that have ever played, get them down here. Let's get behind this girls team and let's show them what Central Coast Mariners fans can do when we put our mind to it. Thanks so much for watching the show. If you haven't subscribed to the show yet, you can do so by clicking that button in the bottom. It is totally free to do so. We're on our push now to 200 subscribers. How good is that? That is awesome. So click on that button, subscribe to the channel. It is free. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up if you want to see more content, particularly about our women's team. Looking forward to bringing you another show next week. Can't wait for tomorrow, and I hope I see you all out there. It's been the Marty Mariner Show.